1304-001, State of Arizona versus Christopher Robert Lesniak.
First up, we're in Maricopa County, Arizona, in the courtroom of Superior Court Commissioner Julie Newell. She's overseeing the arraignment of 50-year-old Christopher Lesniak, charged with aggravated assault. The victim, a man, isn't identified for privacy reasons and not present in court.
All right, does the state want to make a record?
No, Your Honor, no offer has officially been made yet.
As Commissioner Newell proceeds with the hearing, a woman from the gallery stands up, preparing to address the court.
Ma'am, please be seated. Please be seated.
I was going to make an announcement.
Please be seated. And you'll make an announcement only when the court allows you to do that. Thank you.
The woman the commissioner is yelling at is Sheila Madden, a lawyer for the victim. Madden, a former commissioner herself, previously worked with Newell, but Newell would later claim she didn't recognize her.
You'll make an announcement only when the court allows you to do that.
Despite her former colleague's terse statement, Madden has the right to be heard at court proceedings involving her client.
Sir, if you do bond out and fail to appear for your next court date, which is August 31st, a warrant could issue for your arrest and your trial could proceed in your absence. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
The rest of the hearing continues without interruption.
All right, good luck, sir.
But when it ends and Madden isn't called on, she again tries to address Commissioner Newell.
Judge, I wish to be heard.
Sir, ma'am, sit down, please.
I wish...
Ma'am, sit down! That's the last warning, otherwise get out of the courtroom.
I...
Leave the courtroom, or I will have you removed from the courtroom. I will have you removed. I will have you removed. Get out of the courtroom right now. Out of the courtroom right now. Get a deputy in here right now, please.
Despite the call for a deputy and the tongue lashing from Newell, Madden refuses to leave. And with the tension in the courtroom at its peak,
Judge, can I make a record?
the defense attorney steps in to try to simmer things down between the two former co-workers.
I'm sorry, but I've spoken with Sheila Madden. She represents the victim in connection with this case. I've worked with her, so she represents the victim. She was very professional in contacting me. She's a former judge. I hold her in high esteem just as I do you. So I don't want to be cut in the middle here, but
I'm not taking any comments with regards to the victim in this case. That is for a later hearing.
Perhaps sensing it was a no-win situation, or knowing a deputy is moments away from removing her, Madden makes a move for the exit. As for Commissioner Newell, she would never hear any comments in regard to the victim in the case, or any other. The following day, she resigned from her position and later received a public reprimand for her harsh and inappropriate courtroom demeanor.
I will have you removed from the courtroom.
Next, we head to Cleveland's Municipal Court, where Judge Pinky Carr is presiding. It's March 17, 2020. The country's in the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The person is not here, as I've noted all week. Corona, day 3.
Because of health risks, Cleveland's administrative court has issued an order that all hearings for defendants who are not in jail have been postponed. So why is Judge Carr's courtroom still open for all business?
Docket number 31, bond is set at $2,500.
It's a question on the mind of Assistant Public Defender Mark Jablonski.
Is the court having a docket tomorrow?
Oh yeah, nothing stopped for me. My cases go on.
Does that apply to jails only?
No, anyone that shows up. Not everybody watches the news. I actually had people yesterday, I had people today. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that to people.
The judge's statement contradicts the administrative order regarding COVID-19, and Jablonski wants an explanation.
If we are able to get a hold of any of our clients who are scheduled for tomorrow who are not in jail, can we tell them to
No,
communicate?
no, mm-mm.
So the court's administrative order regarding continues?
I'm here. If people show up, I'm here. So no, don't call people and tell them not to show up. If they show up, I'm here.
But this judge isn't just allowing people to show up, she's punishing those who don't. In the preceding days, she'd issued several arrest warrants, which in court terminology is known as a capias.
Capias, bond is set at $5,000. Officer present, no defendant. KPS will be issued.
Continuing his exchange regarding the order, Jablonski asked the judge about her position one last time.
In light of
Yeah,
this
don't do
pandemic,
that.
there's no concern.
Hi, for the third time.
Okay.
I
Just
will be
clarify. Thank you,
here.
Judge.
If people show up, I am here. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jails.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Minutes later, after 7 okays, Jablonski exits the courtroom. But Judge Carr, still apparently baffled by the attorney's question about postponing his client's hearings, discusses it with her staff.
I'm like, stop it. Not everybody watch the news. Wait, I'm gonna call him and tell him don't come. I'm sure he is. Look, idiot.
But soon after, when the local media hears about the arrest warrants, the judge denies it.
If people came to court and they were willing to risk their health, I figured I would return the favor. As far as issuing warrants for their arrest, absolutely untrue.
But when the video showing the opposite becomes public,
KPS, bond is set at $10,000. KPS, bond is set at $5,000. You know what? I'll just put a straight KPS on it.
the Ohio Supreme Court orders Judge Carr to temporarily stop presiding on all criminal or traffic cases. And an investigation by the Ohio Board of Professional Conduct is launched. Carr faces sanctions which could range from a warning to full disbarment. Next, we're in Newark, New Jersey, where Judge James Convery is overseeing a divorce hearing. On one side is Benjamin Taylor and his attorney, Yvette Ramos Alvarez. And on the other is his soon-to-be ex-wife. To establish Taylor's total yearly income, a copy of his Social Security earnings statement has been requested by his wife's attorney.
Now Ms. Kolsky comes back after everything was finished except for the Social Security earnings statements, which he doesn't have.
He gets his Social Security every year indicating.
The earnings statement.
He gets his earnings statement. He gets it. He gets it every year. So she asked for it. Why didn't he provide it?
He doesn't have it.
He threw it away?
I would presume he did.
Oh, come on.
As you can see, Judge Convery is not buying the dog ate my homework story. So he decides to do a quick courtroom poll to prove his point.
Don't you get it? I get it. You get it? You get it? Everybody gets it. Social Security sends it to your home every year.
Alvarez, however, disagrees, based on her own experience.
No, I don't get it. They sent it to my home 4 years ago. I haven't received it in the last 3.
This is the final moment before Judge Convery says something he'll regret.
Well, when did you become an illegal alien?
Judge?
Alvarez is taken aback by the judge's comment. Not only is she of Hispanic descent, but she's also the former president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey.
Judge, I am going to... That was a totally inappropriate comment.
I didn't mean it. I'm only... listen to me.
As Judge Convery tries to backpedal, Alvarez moves forward, right out the door. Then comes the awkward silence. Alvarez returned to the courtroom 10 minutes later, and Judge Convery apologized, but the damage had been done. Alvarez later filed a misconduct complaint against Judge Convery, which, along with other public complaints, led to a public reprimand by the New Jersey Supreme Court. Now to the Clark County Superior Court in Vancouver, Washington.
I'm scared for him.
Judge John Woolley is ruling on a woman's petition for a restraining order against the father of one of her children, 51-year-old Alexander Adzajiri. The defendant maintains that he isn't even the child's father.
He took me to court already 6 times for paternity test, which we already did, but he's still harassing me. He's telling me to refuse from child support. If not, he will make problems for me.
Paternity testing been done?
Yes, it's proved it's his, but he's still refusing to believe it.
The defendant disputes the findings of a completed DNA test using his saliva. Through a Russian translator, he insists on a blood test instead to determine paternity.
5 times I requested for the blood test and she didn't allow that.
5 times.
You are the father of the child. The saliva test is a DNA test which scientifically proves you to be the father. 2, a legal action was instituted and a formal court order has been established. You are the child's father, period.
But this defendant isn't giving up his cause so easily.
Почему вы не хотите дать мне блуд-тест, который подтвердит, что я не являюсь отцом?
Why don't you want to allow me
Это говорит о том, что
to provide a blood test to prove that I am not your father?
You are the father. Sir, a blood test is an antiquated test. We don't use those anymore. That was 20 years ago.
Отказывал мне в сдаче крови, потому что она знает, если я сдам тест на кровь, и тест покажет, что я не являюсь отцом ребенка, ее надо дисквалифицировать как судью.
Sir, this is not the Soviet Union. This is the United States of America. We use the best and latest technologies to determine parentage of children.
Я смотрел в Европе на интернете, я не говорю Советский Союз, я беру Европу на интернете. Many countries in Europe.
I'm not talking about former Soviet Union. She checked what the people or the people in Europe use, and they use blood tests.
This is not Europe. Okay, I'm done. Your order is granted. You're out of here.
Thank you.
It looks like an open and shut case until the judge decides to take a dig at the defendant.
I suggest you watch some CSI TV shows.
The courtroom laughter appears to further incite the defendant. He turns around to address Judge Woolley directly.
Обман в Америке происходит в тот момент, когда меня блокируют. В Советском Союзе никто бы не блокировал сдать блад-тест на проверку крови. Меня обманывают судьи американские, меня обманывает закон за меня. Меня пытаются обмануть.
You are in contempt of court. You are under arrest. Get me security. Now.
Я говорю правду. Я говорю правду.
Sir, you are in contempt of this court. You are going into custody for 2 days.
Adzageri is promptly hauled off to jail. While the judge apologizes to those in attendance for his strong reaction, his response to this case and others is noticed and earns him a reprimand from the Washington State Commission on Judicial Conduct. We're back in Vancouver, Washington, where a 16-year-old is in juvenile court after violating his probation. He's joined by his mother. Next to them is the court clerk. But noticeably absent is his attorney. As Judge John Woolley inquires about the lawyer's whereabouts, the teen addresses the court.
I would like to fight for myself and not have an attorney.
It appears this young defendant wants to play Perry Mason, but Judge Woolley doesn't necessarily think that's a good idea.
Oh, that's not a smart play. That's like going out onto the field with the New York Yankees and you've never even learned how to play baseball.
That's fine.
So I'm not going to do that. You're going to have an attorney assist you in this matter. I'm not going to let him fly solo and walk into a court of law and try to practice law when he hasn't even finished high school.
I just wanted to say I'm guilty. That's all. I just take what I get.
We're sending it over to Tuesday.
What Judge Woolley doesn't clarify is that he believes a juvenile can't legally plead guilty without an attorney present.
I'm not going to accept an admission at this time.
We're not getting to do what we want, you know?
So put it on for Tuesday for either admit or deny, or for whether or not there'll be a replacement of the attorney.
So far, it looks like Judge Woolley's doing everything in his power to help this defendant. But when the teen continues to question him,
why can't I just admit today that?
The judge loses his temper.
Because I'm doing my job, sir. My job requires that I protect your constitutional rights. You as an American citizen. That's my charge. And if you're too stupid to know that what I'm trying to do is protect you, then let me spell it out for you. So step one is I bring the case back with an attorney, and then we talk.
Notice as the court clerk tries to signal to the teen to be quiet.
Because I'm doing my job, sir.
Then scores some brownie points with the boss by backing him up.
And our state Supreme Court has backed you up on that, didn't it?
They have. And I'm sure the U.S. Supreme would too.
And listen carefully as Mom expresses her dissatisfaction with the judge's choice of words.
The Supreme Court has backed you up on that, didn't it?
They have. And I'm sure the U.S. Supreme would too.
Okay, you're going to take this and you're going to have a seat. You're going to be back in court. Actually,
perhaps sensing the mood shift in the courtroom, Judge Woolley offers an apology.
And my apologies to everyone in this courtroom. I very rarely lose my temper.
If you want to call it that.
But when I do, it's usually because someone is too stupid to recognize that I'm trying to help them.
There are just a few issues with Judge Woolley's backhanded apology. One, he's just doubled down on calling the defendant stupid.
Which usually because someone is too stupid to recognize that I'm trying to help them.
And two,
I very rarely lose my temper.
Problem is, that's not entirely true. Over a 2.5-year period, Judge Woolley was cited for 4 separate incidents by the Washington State Commission on Judicial Conduct for, quote, a pattern of discourteous, impatient, and undignified behavior. Judge John Woolley would later receive a public reprimand for his ill-tempered courtroom conduct.
Oh, that's not a smart play.